Hi, it's Steph. I thought that I would ask my garden assistant, George, who is also my husband if you're new to the channel, to come along with us today and discuss some of the projects that we have planned for 2024. So let's go ahead and take a walk around the garden. It is chilly out here. My hands are so frozen. That's the thing. I am dying to get outside and play in the dirt and do things, but it is still much too cold in February. Some of our friends in the south are already getting outside and their daffodils are blooming, and I just can't wait. But the next project that we're going to tackle this year is right here in my vegetable garden. But this year I'm going to grow more flowers and vegetables. I'm planning on having a cut flower garden in this area. We built this garden in 2017, and in 2017 it was brand new. We used pressure treated wood on our fence. So the fence is holding up okay, but inside we used untreated pine because you don't want to use anything that has chemicals or preservatives on the wood when you're going to be growing food in them. The cedar was much too expensive and it wasn't in our budget at the time, so we went with the untreated pine. But after 7 years of this garden being here, you can see that a lot of the wood, George will get in and show you, has started to split.
And I remember bringing this up when I was building this.
Yes.
And I was like, it's going to be a matter of time where it's just going to rot away.
But honestly, because it just wasn't in our budget at the time, we did what we could with what we had. And sure enough, George's prediction came true, and now the garden beds are starting to kind of rot and fall apart.
Yeah. So it needs to be addressed. We got to do something. Yep. So we have a couple of ideas.
Yep. And I'm really excited to revamp this area because, of course, I always love new projects. So I have some plans to kind of update the beds, maybe do something with the fence, add some fun accessories in here. So I am excited about it. And I'm also excited to grow a lot of cut flowers. If I'm being honest, my family doesn't eat a whole lot of vegetables. They like cherry tomatoes and cucumbers and delicata squash. What else, George?
Squash.
Squash. He loves the delicata squash. It gets nice and sweet. So I am going to still grow a handful of plants in our jalapeno peppers because we like the jalapeno poppers and the jalapeno popper chicken. So we'll definitely grow a handful of vegetables, but I'm going to go heavy on flowers in here this year. So it's probably going to be like a 75-25% split with more flowers and less veggies. But I have not shared this area a whole lot in the past, but I plan on showing you my vegetable garden, or my cut flower garden, I'll call it this year, a lot more this season. It's a project I'm really looking forward to.
So next project is some birdhouses. This is going to be a day project.
This is like a side project, like a small one.
So this one's in pretty good shape. That one's not a problem, but we do have some that are more decorative, that they were really pretty when we put them up, but they've just kind of disintegrated.
Yeah, we have quite a few birdhouses back here. Every spring we add one, so we're probably up to about 7 or 8 now. But some of them have fallen apart and need a little bit of work. This one, we had this tree kind of grow in front, which I don't think is a bad thing because the birds kind of like to hang out on the branches.
It actually looks pretty solid.
Yeah.
The opening, you can tell, is all worn, probably from their beaks going in and out, right?
I've noticed some of the newer birdhouses now have the predator guards in the front that also kind of help protect the opening a little bit too. This was a decorative one here that we got. I purchased it at like TJ Maxx, and I think it was because George is a car guy and there was a license plate on top, and I thought he would like it.
So the license plate's still there, but everything else is gone.
The bottom fell out from under it.
And I repaired this one time.
You did. A couple of years ago, we had a really nice February day. We tried to do this late winter so that the birds are ready to go for their nesting in spring. But we took care of these a couple of years ago. He fixed the bottom, but it's already destroyed again, so need to replace a few of these.
And that one still looks good. This one here, that one looks really good, actually.
This is one of the newer ones. This is a real pretty one. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. I actually got this, our garden club will do a Christmas in July, and there was a Yankee swap, and I won this one. It was really pretty. It's like a teal color with a bird on it that was like a copper color. It's aged well, so that's a good one.
And here's another one that fell down.
Oh yeah,
it looks
this is a cedar one.
Yeah, the back kind of gave out on it.
We can probably replace that.
I could replace the back. I could probably reuse this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another project. We'll take care of that in a day.
Yeah.
And
if we get a nice weekend day over the next couple of weeks, we can take care of that.
And maybe add a few.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, let's move on to the next one. Another small project we're going to take care of this year is painting our shed doors. They have gotten quite faded over the years because it gets a lot of sun in this area. And you can see the inside of the door is more of a dark brown, which is what the color originally was. And even though the lighting's a little bit difficult now, you can kind of tell. And the outside is super faded. Yeah. It almost has a hint of purple in some light. So we're going to take care of this. George is going to take the doors out.
I'll pull the doors for you and we'll mask the windows and you can just spray them.
Yeah, we'll put them on some horses. Yep. Yeah. And I'll get one of those sprayers that you can put your paint in, and I'm going to give it a go.
It shouldn't be too bad. These are fiberglass doors, so they're going to last a long time.
Yeah, freshen it up. And this shed has been here, what now, would you say?
Almost 10 years?
Almost 10 years. So it's time for a little bit of maintenance. All right, on to the next project.
So maybe you want to show the plants that we're overwintering.
Let's take a look. So these are our overwintered plants, and they're mostly doing pretty well. It even looks like the roses are starting to get a couple of buds that are swelling, and the sedum is holding up. Everything's looking pretty good. So we've just been coming in here and watering maybe once a month.
Every 3 weeks.
Every 3 weeks. Usually George takes...
I have a timer on my phone.
Yeah, George takes care of that for me because I always complain that it's too cold out. I have to make dinner, whatever the case. I usually get him to come out and help me with this. So thanks for keeping our plants alive, George.
No problem.
We're going to check on one more thing.
One of your viewers asked about this. How is the fringe flower?
Yeah, the Chinese fringe flower that Janie sent me. So let's go ahead and take a look at it.
The tent's holding up.
Yes.
Like we had some snow and it didn't collapse on itself. It actually worked well. So.
It's called the little tent we're referring to is called a winter shrub cover. And it looks like a little tent. And we're going to kind of take a peek now that it's finally not raining or dark.
The ground is frozen, so
fun. It's like a little surprise.
Sorry, it's going to take me a second. I'll just tip it over.
Looks good. Ooh, look at that.
And we did put some leaves on it to kind of
protect it.
Protect it.
So exciting. So there it is. So you can see all
it's rated to a zone what? Like
7. It's
7?
a zone 7. And even though we were moved up to a 7 recently, we're still pretty cold here in New England. So I'm going to garden as if I'm still in a 6, but I'm excited to report that it's looking alive.
That's good.
And it is now February, so that's really good. So it's doing its job.
Yep.
Before we leave this area in the backyard and head on to a project in the front yard, I want to show you one more thing. My hellebores are all budded up. So here are I believe these are ivory prints. Look at all those buds here and even here. Tons of them. So I could definitely clean this area up because these are late winter, early spring bloomers. So they're getting ready, but I'm going to leave them for about another couple of weeks. Last year in February, I did clean them all up, and then we had a super polar vortex and it kind of nipped a lot of my buds. So I'm going to leave them alone for a few more weeks, and then I will come in here. I'll clean up any of these leaves. I'll kind of rake them out with a little shrub rake and clean up any of the foliage that's tattered. But I have to tell you, this foliage looks absolutely beautiful this year. There is hardly any damage on it. In fact, hellebores are a great ground cover. Look at this.
And the deers are not touching them.
They don't touch them. Yeah. The deer don't touch them. And these are the 2 newer hellebores that I bought last year at Home Depot around this time. And look at that. They also have some buds. This was a really pretty pink variety. You can see right there. And this one has quite a few as well. It was the Helleborus Gold Collection. So that's really exciting. I can't wait until these bloom. And one other thing right down this way that looks really great in this woodland bed is my Pyrus japonica. Look at this. They have so many buds this year, and I'm probably jinxing it, and we'll probably get another polar vortex in a couple of weeks, and it'll kill all the buds. But look at this. It's getting ready to bloom shortly. Not shortly, but probably in the next month, month and a half. But these are pink. They're little pink bell-shaped flowers. That one there, I'm pretty sure, is the Monrovia Impish Elf. And this one here is called Valley Rose.
They look the same.
Yeah, they do. Valley Rose. They're both pink. And you can even see how pretty these look now in the winter. Provides really nice winter interest. So this will actually be the first year that I see these bloom. They've been planted here for about 3 years. Last year, all of the buds got nipped. So fingers crossed for blooms this year. And I just wanted to share a couple more things that are looking really beautiful in February and providing a lot of winter interest. And this tree here is my Katsura. Goodness, the Katsura Japanese maple. Now there are Katsura trees and there are also Katsura Japanese maple. So this variety here has a really beautiful red bark. And typically when you think of a red bark Japanese maple, the first one that comes to mind is the Sangukaku or the coral bark maple. But this one here also has really vibrant red bark. In fact, from my window when I'm doing dishes and the sun is hitting it just right, it almost looks like a red twig dogwood. Has really pretty vibrant red new growth, or actually the whole thing looks red. So really pretty one. This newer bed that we just made last fall is still looking really good because we added a lot of evergreen interest to it. So that is the bonus of having evergreens in your garden, is that you have a garden all year round. So even when your perennials go dormant, you have some interest in something to look at. So this really pretty yellow one here, what was it called again? The Butterball Hinoki Cypress. Such a cutie. And then the pine, that there is a Norway spruce called Poosh. And then this blue one here.
Isn't this one supposed to have like pink
red
tips?
Pine cones.
Okay.
It's going to have red pine cones in the spring. It's a Pisces Abbey's Poosh.
So I'm waiting for that because I remember when we picked this up in the nursery.
It's the whole reason I bought it. I was so excited about those. So we'll have to wait and see. And then this beauty here, God, I love the color on this. This is a blue prostrate noble fir. And it should grow kind of sprawling along the ground. I love this one. Beautiful color. And the other project that we're going to do this year is right in this area up here by our front walls. But let me show you my drift of thrift, or my armeria. It's still looking really good. Look at this in February. It almost looks like it has buds. Look at that. These are new buds right here. Now these are protected from the wind by this wall. So this side is doing a lot better. You can see in terms of the growth. The other side looks okay too, like they're alive, but they're just a little bit smaller.
Yep.
See, because those are in what they call a microclimate. It's different parts of your garden depending if it's sheltered from wind or if it's getting more light or less light. It becomes a microclimate, so it's a little warmer. Those are my daffodils.
Oh, they're ready to come up.
Yeah, they are. The daffodils, and then this is creeping phlox. This looks really beautiful together. This has grown quite a bit too, creeping phlox. And the varieties of daffodils I have are the Sun King and the Ice Follies. They're both yellow and a creamy white, and they look really good together. But these walls. So last year, we started a project of taking out some limelight standard trees, hydrangea trees that we had here. And the reason we took those out is
we had one behind each wall.
Behind each wall. There
one was
and there.
Here,
and you see how windy it is up here right now? It is always so windy. Now I'm hoping that the audio isn't picking up this wind, but it is pretty brutal. And that's the whole reason we had to take out those beautiful limelight standard hydrangea trees that I had on either side, because we had them staked, and as hard as we tried, they were always flopping in the wind and falling over, and I didn't want to risk breaking them. They were very top heavy. Yeah. I actually made a video about it last summer.
Yeah, we'll put up the clip when I went to get the trash, and one was completely bent.
Yes.
It wasn't broken, but that was it. Once I saw that, I was like, these have to go.
It was time.
Yeah.
So I am going to work on doing a new planting on either side of the walls this year, behind them. We have a group of plants planned for this area, and we want to add some evergreens as well as a nice statement piece in the center, some kind of tree. So it's something we're working on now. We're finishing our planning, and that is a project that we're also going to share with you, and I'm hoping that it'll make a pretty grand entrance here on the way down our driveway. And coming down our driveway, this is the large island bed that we created here on the side of our driveway about 2 seasons ago, the fall of 2022. And now that I've had some time to live with it, there's a couple of things that I don't really like in this bed that I'm going to change out. And that's how gardening is, right? We're forever making changes.
The old switcheroo.
The old switcheroo. So right here, I love the grouping of the Carl Forester reed grass, the Calamagratis Carl Forester grass. So I'm going to leave these here. They do need to be cleaned up. And so we'll take care of that for spring cleanup. I love the Acorus sweet flag Ogon that I put here. That's great, and that's staying. I also have 2 of these sage leaf willow type shrubs. Great, staying. Now what's coming out? I am going to get rid of the 3 red twig dogwoods.
But we're going to move them somewhere else.
We are,
right?
yep. Yeah. So I'm getting rid of them in this bed. We'll put them somewhere else in the garden. These are the ivory halo, and they have variegated leaves. The thing about these that I didn't know and that I've come to learn is that they get some kind of disease on the leaves and they start looking spotted. So while they have the beautiful green and cream leaves, when they start getting those black spores on them, and it could be because this area is very wet, I just haven't liked it. So I'm going to move the 3 red twig dogwoods out into the back area somewhere, towards maybe the line of shrubs that we're putting back next to the hillside, maybe. Yep. And I'm also going to move that holly, because that holly there is a sentinel dragon holly, but it's growing really slow. And while it did have berries, the deer tend to go after it. I heard that deer don't like hollies, but they do eat the new growth. You can see that the leader here got destroyed when they kind of went to town on it. So this I'm also going to place somewhere in the backyard, and I'm going to replace it. So what is my plan to put in this bed? I'm actually going to add a hydrangea there. So in place of that holly, my plan is to put a prime Pinky Winky. So it's a new one, and I'm going to try to get my hands on one and put that in that area. In the spot where the 2 red twig dogwoods are in the back, I am going to add some kind of evergreen. And my goal is to find an evergreen that is deer resistant, that likes a little bit of moisture because this area is a little bit wet, and that will grow very columnar and tall. So that is what's going to go in the place of these 2 red twig dogwoods. And in the front here, I have a Cryptomeria globosa nana that I never got to plant last season, that I'm wintering over, and that I'm planning on putting here for another evergreen piece. So we'll end up with 3 evergreens, a beautiful flowering hydrangea. We'll have these 2 shrubs that have the sage leaf willow with the blue foliage, and then the yellow pop with the sweet flag, and then the height of the grasses. So I think it'll make a really pretty combination. So that is the plan for the update of this bed this spring. So right. Garden assistant, what do you think of our plans for this year, for 2024?
I think they're doable. Nothing's too big. The Japanese maple garden last year was...
It was a big undertaking.
It was a pretty big project.
Yeah.
So.
Plus there's maintenance, right?
Yeah, we have all the regular maintenance, edging out beds, mulch.
We do have to edge this year, that's true.
Pruning things. But I think the biggest one is going to be that garden. Figuring out what we're going to do with the garden. And
the vegetable garden, yeah, for sure. And then the walls and whatnot. But I didn't even bring up that I might want like some kind of trellis in the Japanese maple garden. What do you think about that? Maybe like a moon gate. That would be really cool, right? Or even maybe something in the entrance to the vegetable garden, like some kind of trellis that we can grow some clematis around. What do you think? This is usually how projects start. I bring them up.
I don't know what I think yet.
George usually tells me the reasons why they won't work, and then takes a little bit of time and then comes around to things.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out as we go.
He's gotten a lot better. About 2 years ago, when I would bring up plans, he would like immediately veto them, and then it would take me another year to work on them, and then he would come around. But he's getting better. He's also getting a lot more, becoming more of a gardener than he thinks he is. He's surprising me these days with naming plants that I had.
I'm a lot better than I used to be.
Yes, like I had no idea that he actually knew what the plant was, and he's like surprised me. We'll have to quiz George a little bit more this season and keep him up on his plant knowledge.
You know, I think it's the garden tours.
It's
walking
the garden
around
tour.
with you.
Yes, he does a fabulous job on the garden tours, right? So we want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us, for watching our videos, and for commenting. We really enjoy reading the comments and interacting with all of you. We're getting geared up for another gardening season, which is really exciting. More exciting for me than for George. George looks at it as work, but I'm very lucky to have him, and so grateful that he helps me as much as he does out in the garden. So let us know in the comments, do you have any projects planned for this year? Right. Well, that's it. So thank you so much for spending your time with us. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button, and please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.